Yo, it's your boy Holistic Health with Harry. Coming to you today in the wet and windy, not so much, but it's a bit dreary and blustery and a bit rainy under a tree. What am I doing? Right. Well, I'm grounding for one, which is good, and I'm listening to podcasts too, which is also good. But what I was doing whilst I'm listening to my podcasts is I'm lifting up my shirt, my jumper, my hoodie, exposing my belly, my big fat belly, to the sun, even to the cloud cover sun. And why would I be doing that? Also, plus I'm wearing Kaniki shorts. If you follow my stuff, you know that eyes are the most important area for light. Number 2 is your gonads. You can get your gonads covered, non-see-through exposed, but still letting 50% of light in with Kaniki shorts. So that's good, number 2. But number 3, I've come to believe and experiment with, and from my own studies and experiments shows that the gut, the belly, the large and the small intestine area is the third most important area to expose to UVB light, but all lights. But I'll talk about UVB midday light and why I'm doing this. Time now is 12 o'clock, so it's coming up to the sun highest in the sky, even under the clouds. Just remember, under clouds, sun penetrates. By doing this whilst I'm listening to podcasts and holding this up, been holding up for like half an hour, especially after lunch, is key, and I'll explain why in a bit. We know light is medicine, UVB. Now, UV medicine is very powerful. There's not any UVB anymore. In September, the UVB is dissipating because it's coming up to the winter. We're not in the tropics. But still, there's a lot of medicine of UVA. And UVA is very important because UVA has a specific mechanism which heals you. First of all, UVA induces nitric oxide at the surface layers of the skin, which dilates the blood vessels at the surface of the skin, or in and around the surface of the skin. Now, this happens for a reason. This lowers your blood pressure, which is very cool, makes you deep breathe, very cool. But the reason why it does this is a very smart tactic of nature, UV, because UVA and UVB are very shallow wavelengths. They're high energy, but they can't penetrate very deep. But you need to get into the bloodstream because they're very powerful medicine. I'll explain one reason why they need to get into why I'm doing this, lifting my shirt up in a bit. But UVA hits the skin, and the more skin exposed, the more nitric oxide gets released, it gets activated. That nitric oxide dilates the blood vessels at the surface of the skin. So, for example, my face is exposed to UVA, so all the blood vessels on my face are getting dilated, and that's slowing my breath down. There's more blood coming to the surface of my skin. There's more blood flow now to the surface of my skin, at the face, and my hands. And when I lift up my shirt, the gut. Now, why am I doing the gut specifically on top of my gonads a little bit, my face, my hands, which are already exposed anyway? Why am I doing my gut? I'll tell you why. Because your gut is the house and home that makes 95% of your serotonin hormone. Now, people don't, first of all, that's kind of interesting, not everyone knows that. If you do, cool, well done you. But the 95% of serotonin that predominates in your system, that's made in the gut and stays in the gut, isn't necessarily for mood as much as the brain one's for mood, more or less, mood regulation and feeling great. The gut one is different. The gut one is for digestion and increased motility of peristalsis of the colon. So it's essential for moving your bowels, for relieving constipation, for smooth gut flow and smooth poos, and everything to do with the gut and the colon and moving those poos. Serotonin. Now, there's a number of ways that serotonin in the gut can be made, but one of the key ways that it's activated is by UV midday light. It's almost like nature knew we're supposed to eat our food at daytime, predominantly at lunchtime when the UV is the highest. So hear me now. The UV hits the skin, UV hits the gut. This activates the nitric oxide at the surface layers of my gut, the blood vessels. Now there's a whole load of blood coming to the surface of my gut, or any area exposed, but specifically the gut because I'm lifting up, right? Now that's key because the blood system has precursors to serotonin called tryptophan all over it, and it needs the precursors to serotonin, tryptophan. They're an amine protein bond. They need UV light to hit them to break that bond to make the serotonin. So UV light is essential for the process of making serotonin, is what I'm saying, the precursors, and it's in the blood. But the UV has to find a way, like I said before, to get into the blood, and UVA's way to do this is to activate the nitric oxide at the surface of the skin. The blood vessels pause. The blood vessels are now pouring There's much more blood now because of the nitric oxide UVA,